Hello, Paul here from EMD. Today we have a Boxster that got towed in. Someone have diagnosed his car that the engine is pretty much damaged or needs to be replaced. But what I'm doing today, there's a lot of testing I had to do, so we remove all the spark plugs out and check the compression, and the compression was about between 200 psi to 211 psi, which is a really good compression on a 987. If you got a 987, 997, all the compression on them are roughly about 200, sometimes about 190 to 200, 210, roughly around there. If you need to know that information, so most 987 and Cayman, Boxster and Cayman, they hover around 195 to 211 mark. Most of them are 200. So if you have 200, you're pretty much 200 psi on the engine, perfect and beautiful. So today I'm going to check the oil pressure as well. So the oil pressure on this Boxster have to be on this side here. If you look closely, there's a tool there that goes on the actual sensor. That's the tool there. That one there, sorry. I'll get closer. It's basically, you can see the hose connected to that one, and that is actually the oil pressure sensor, which is a one wire. There you go, oil pressure sensor. Take that one off, and then you fit that tool into here. And now we're going to check the oil pressure to make sure it's got oil pressure before we move on. Okay, crank it. As you can see, the oil pressure went up to about 3 bar. So that's pretty good. You got oil pressure now. Once you start the car up, the oil pump will actually pump the pressure up to about 5 bar. But if you got nothing at all when you're cranking, that means you got no oil pressure. You got so many clearance somewhere on the bottom end causing that, or something's broken somewhere, or there's a leak somewhere on the oil galleries. But at the moment we have oil pressure, so I'm not going to condemn this engine as a faulty engine. So I'm gonna keep looking. So at the moment, the problem now is electronics. Fuel pressure is good as well. I've got 3.8 bar as well, and I've got oil pressure nearly 3 bar, or like 3.5 bar. I'm not sure, I just missed it. And I'll check the wiring harness, so I'm gonna narrow it down to electronics problem. So this engine is good, so we're not gonna actually quote this engine up. We're gonna leave the engine alone. We're gonna attack the actual electronic side, earth side, signal side, DME side. Engine speed sensor is running about 172. The speed is about 172 RPM when we crank the engine. So we have the problem is we have no signal from the injector. So no signal from the actual engine computer to the injector. So put a noise light there, didn't have a pulse whatsoever. So it can be a wiring harness, it can be anything else, it can be a DME control unit. But we're going to actually figure it out. But we have to tick all the boxes, no guesswork, until we find the problem. Okay, Paul again from EMD. Just a quick update on this, what we're doing today. As soon as this car gets started, I'll put some figures down for you guys out there if you need to know injector resistance and injector pulse, injector wiring harness resistance, things like that. It will help you guys out for diagnostic in the future. But at the moment, we're going to find the problem, and we're going to post it on part 2, and I'll explain more in depth. Okay, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.